Tropical storm warnings out. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the satellite loop. Look at the storm just spinning away as it moved towards South Florida. Winds continuing at 120 miles an hour. It's moving on that westward track at around 16 miles an hour. And again, there's a possibility as we head over the Gulf Stream that we could pick up a little more punch to it, and it could become a bigger storm than it is right now. Question is, of course, where is that eye going to land in Florida? And, of course, that's something we cannot tell at this point in time. So the watches and warnings. We are looking at a hurricane warning, which is in effect for the east coast of Florida from Vero Beach southward through the Florida Keys and the Dry Tortugas. Tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch in effect north of Vero Beach to Titusville. And a hurricane watch in effect for the west coast of Florida from south of Bayport, which includes the greater Tampa area to north of Flamingo. The numbers right now, 25.5 north, 74.1 west, or about 380 miles east of Miami. And again, Rick, we are moving that storm westward at about 16 miles an hour. So again, very strong storm. Could gain a little more intensity over the Gulf Stream.
When are we going to know, Tom? How often are these advisories being released so that we know the very latest coordinates and all the other important statistics you're giving us on this hurricane?
Well, they have been issued at 3-hour intervals, went from 5 to 3-hour intervals, so we're going to be getting them a lot sooner now. And we're tracking it, looping it and tracking it ourselves now, so we're going to be able to see it getting closer and the clouds moving in. It's already starting to affect the Bahamas a little bit.
Okay. And on that note, we should remind people we have crews in the Bahamas following that, and as soon as we're able to make contact with them, we'll let you know. Kelly?
Get some advance information on that. All right. Well, we've got some stuff that you're going to want to write down, so go ahead and get your pen and your paper ready. This is information you're going to need to get through this hurricane. It's a listing of the shelters you can go to when Andrew hits. Now, we're going to start with the day listings first, and then we're going to show you the safe havens in Broward.
Mike, good morning. Let's have a conversation. Tell us everything you know about what's going on your end, sir.
Good morning, Rick. I am in the Bahamian Meteorological Office with the director, Ken Lightbourne. We're at the airport here at Nassau, where they are monitoring, with the help of the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, the path of Andrew, which, according to what we're being told, has moved, of course, west, but also a bit south of west. Originally, they thought the brunt of the storm would be over Great Abaco Island, but now more of the brunt of the storm may indeed come across New Providence Island, which, of course, is home to Nassau. We are being told right now that the storm is 190 miles east of New Providence, and at about 3 p.m. today, I am told we will begin to feel the effects of the leading edge of the storm, which I am told now has winds of up to 110 to 120 miles per hour. I'm told that at about 3 p.m. we'll start getting the heavy wind and the heavy rain. Already, the skies have begun to cloud up. Early this morning, it was blue sky outside, but it's beginning to cloud up now. And they're expecting that we could get the full brunt of this storm on in to the late afternoon and early evening, and could be under the full impact of Hurricane Andrew well into the early a.m. hours of Monday morning. Now, Rick, I've repeated one theme throughout since I came to the Bahamas yesterday to help track this storm, and that is that there seems to be a very complacent attitude about preparation for the storm. People simply did not believe that it was going to hit here. I am with Ken Lightbourne, Rick. Again, he is the director of the Bahamian Meteorological Service. I'm going to do a quick interview with him live on the phone. Sir, first of all, the complacency. Are you worried about that people have not moved to get prepared quickly enough?
Yes, well, I was worried about that yesterday, but it seems now they're now moving this morning, so we have told them to hurry precaution, and they, I say, jump into it.
Let me ask you something else, Mr. Lightbourne. Give us a sense for our viewers in South Florida of what we're going to feel in Nassau with the brunt of this storm when it hits, in terms of winds, potential wind damage, flooding. Try and give our viewers a picture of what they're going to expect to hear about out of Nassau.
Okay, as you aforementioned, the leading edge of this thing will start around 3 p.m.
Mike, are you with us?
Drifting to 3 p.m. Now, what we expect sometime around 5 here in the bulk of the populous island, New Providence, we will get winds up to about 120 miles per hour beginning 5 and lasting throughout the night. Now, what will happen, the eye or the storm center should pass over New Providence, so there'll be a lull or some sort of calm sometime like maybe around midnight hours. And then what happened, the wind will come from another direction and affect us with, say, winds up to about maybe 115, 110 miles per hour winds. Now, Lutra would be undergoing this same wind condition earlier than us, about 2 to 3 hours early, so they should begin around 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Hey, Mike, this is Rick Sanchez back in Miami. Can you do something for us?
Pardon, Rick?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Stay where you are. Stay with us on the line. We've just gotten word that we're getting an advisory from Dr. Sheets. So what we want you to do is listen to what Dr. Sheets says and then perhaps apply that for how it would work for the people in the Bahamas. So can you stand with us there?
I'll stand by with Mr. Lightbourne.
Thank you. Michael Williams in the Bahamas.
All right, let's now go to the National Hurricane Center and Dr. Bob Sheets. Doctor, Michael is saying that in the Bahamas, it's going to be about 6 hours before they start feeling things. Now, I have been through one of these. A lot of people have, but a lot of people really haven't. What starts to happen? I mean, what are the first signs that this thing is now barreling here?
Well, it's indeed in the Bahamas right now. It's not going to be 6 hours. It's 6 hours before the core gets there, but you can see the fringe of the hurricane is now coming in. That's mostly cirrus cloud. Underneath that's rain bands, and that'll be coming across to Luthra and some of the easternmost islands of the Bahamas here in the next couple hours or so.
What do they see? Do they have rain, or do they have wind, or will the waves kick in first? What are the first signs?
The swells are going to be there, and of course the cloudiness, that's the cirrus cloud is already over there. So the cirrus cloud's there. The cloudiness is there. The swells are coming in. The wave action is coming in, and then the wind is starting to follow.
You know, islanders, it said, tend to be somewhat complacent. That's why they probably live on islands, kind of a relaxed lifestyle. You heard Michael Williams actually come out and say that they may be too complacent down there. At least that's the feeling he's getting from talking to these folks. Dr. Sheets, do you suspect that could be the case, and what would you say to these people?
Well, indeed, there's always a complacency factor. The fact that you have what you have right here and your ability to telecast into that area hopefully influences some of the things they do.
You know, we've talked a lot about storm surge, Dr. Sheets, and I think for some people it's still one of those meteorological words that we toss about that doesn't really mean anything. Try to inform us, maybe on more of a layman's terms, what we mean from your end when we say storm surge directly, concretely. What does that mean for people living in certain areas of South Florida and the Bahamas for that matter?
Well, it's a dome of water that'll be centered somewhere around the center of this hurricane, and the whole ocean comes up. We're talking about the whole ocean level comes up. In our case, it'll be around 10 feet, maybe 12 feet somewhere in Biscayne Bay, some of those areas. And then on top of that, you have wave action. So that's what the storm surge is. It will slowly come in over a period of hours, and then as the center approaches, then it may rise another 3 to 5 feet in a matter of 45 minutes. Just the ocean coming up with waves on top of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but not only the water from the ocean, but also if you live close to like the New River or the Miami River, I understand in that area the surge would be higher as well.
Yes, it will be funneled somewhat up those rivers depending on where the center goes. If the center goes south of there, inland south of there, then it's going to drive the water up Biscayne Bay, up the rivers, up into higher areas into inland.
Dr. Sheets, what about the bay specifically? A lot of people think, and maybe mistakenly, that that is a buffer zone, that they are protected because it'll hit the beach and then, boy, it'll be nothing after that. Is that the case at all, or are they being just downright silly?
That's the latter part. Then indeed, it's not a protection there. Certainly, it's better there than it is out on Key Biscayne as far as the water is concerned, or down in Elliott Key. But when that water rises about 10 feet, it doesn't know that the flats are out there, for instance. It just drives that water on ashore.
I heard some people talking last night at dinner who said they've got boats in the water. They think that this is no big deal, and actually they're looking forward to it. They're taking their cameras out, and they just think this is going to be a whole bunch of fun. Not the case, I would imagine.
I would hope not. We lost 5 people in Hugo in South Carolina who decided to stay on their boats, and we're not talking about small craft. One was a 45-foot trawler, another 40-footer, and another with a sailboat, and so they decided to ride the storm out, and we lost their lives. So I hope that people are a little more prudent in this area.
All right, before we leave you, Dr. Sheets, let's get the final incidentals on this. 120 miles an hour, moving something like 14 or 15 miles an hour due west, and it is heading in our direction. Anything you'd add to that?
It's a little stronger now. The pressure's dropped, and so the winds are coming up, and we'll probably have a Category 4 hurricane as soon as we analyze the wind field here.
So that's not only a probability, it looks like it's almost a definite kind of thing. Yes. You're just waiting to get the actual confirmation.
Right.
Force would hit Hugo, is that right?
That was the strength that Hugo was, yes.
All right, Dr. Bob Sheets joining us again from the National Hurricane Center, and we are going to keep going back to Dr. Sheets. Obviously, he is the one person in the entire United States, for the better part of the world, as a matter of fact, who has the latest information on all hurricanes, not only in the Atlantic, but also in the Pacific. If there's one person who gets it right as it's happening, so to speak, he would be the one who you could say is doing that as the director of the National Hurricane Center. That's why you're going to become very familiar if you stay with us with Dr. Sheets. We're going to be going back to him probably every 20 minutes or so.
Get to know him. And of course, we left poor Mike Williams dangling on the phone there in the Bahamas, and he is going to be the one who feels poor old Andrew the first. So Michael, give us an idea of what you've learned while we were talking with Dr. Sheets.
Well, if I didn't know better, I would have thought Dr. Sheets had a crystal ball in front of him and was actually out here in the Bahamas. Not surprising, since he's the expert. As he said, Eleuthera, which for those of you who don't know the area well, is a good deal east of New Providence, is going to feel the first leading edge effects of Andrew at approximately noon to 1 p.m. They'll start getting hurricane conditions there. Now, we're about 70 miles east of Eleuthera, or excuse me, 70 miles west of Eleuthera, so it's going to be a few hours more before we start feeling it. Now, keep in mind, geographically here, Nassau is only about 180 miles east of Miami, if you can keep all this in mind. So what we feel is a good expectation of what's headed towards South Florida's way. And just as Dr. Sheets was speaking, I began to see the first signs of rain. It had not been raining at all yesterday or this morning. In fact, when I woke up, the skies were blue, but they are beginning to cloud over, a thin layer of clouds, just as Dr. Sheets said, and I am seeing the first signs of rain. It's very light now. If I didn't know a hurricane was on the way, I would pass it off as nothing more than a daily rainstorm. But we start to see the first signs of the weather system moving into this area. And again, by about mid-afternoon, we're going to start feeling the first effects of the brunt of this very, very powerful hurricane that, according to forecasters in the Bahamas, now looks like it will pass very near or directly over over New Providence Island. And I can't emphasize enough that as we talk about evacuation and preparedness in South Florida, imagine how those type of problems are magnified here. This island, for instance, is 21 miles by 7 miles at its widest point. So evacuation really means only trying to get off the outermost fringes of the barrier island and trying to get further inland to schools and the like. And frankly, again, the complacency here has been astounding. I've been to hotels that are completely glass-sided where not one piece of planking board has gone up yet. You're just now starting to hear about people heading out to hardware stores this morning thinking that, yes, this may indeed be a bad storm. One of the sad things that you always see are people who are caught unawares. Many tourists I talked to this morning, believe it or not, were finding out that our hurricane is headed this way because I asked them about their concern and preparedness. I'm at the airport right now. The weather office is upstairs. A lot of people starting to cram in here trying to get flights out, but right now every flight to Miami is a question mark. We got some videotape out on the 9 o'clock flight. We're not sure if there'll be any more flights out of here. The phone may be our only link to you all for the rest of the day and night.
We'll look forward to seeing that, Michael, but before we let you go, and of course we'll be rejoining you, I do have to ask you on a more personal note. I'm a little bit concerned for you. Are you making plans for yourself? Are you going to be all right? Are you going to be safe in this thing?
Oh, yeah, we'll hang out somewhere. And, you know, I went through Gilbert in '88 down in Cancun. I saw much of the same thing there, Rick. That was a Force 5 hurricane when it hit us. And then I was in Hugo in Charleston in 1989. They're very, very tough storms to go through, and if you haven't been through one, it's really tough to describe just how bad the damage can be. So it's nice to hear that at least in South Florida the preparedness is underway, because until you're in one of these, you really cannot understand the fearsome power that they bring with them. Unfortunately, in Cancun in '88, it was the same situation. People didn't believe until the last that a storm was going to hit them. Fortunately, in Hugo, however, it was different. The preparedness really paid off. And so we're hoping it'll do that at least for South Florida. And here, frankly, I'm afraid the preparation has been very haphazard to date, but better late than never. People at least now seem to be paying attention. So we'll batten down the hatches and we'll stay on the phone lines with you throughout the day and the night, and in the middle of the storm, at least as long as the phone lines are up.
All right, Michael, and we'll keep in touch with your family for you. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Well, emergency operations centers in South Florida are up and running, and that is the important thing. The people in charge, they're mapping out evacuation plans. They are manning the rumor control hotline. We've got live reports for you from both Dade and Broward. So let's start first with Channel 7's Derek Hayward, who is in Dade. Derek?
Well, Kelly, here's Mission Control behind me, a hub of activity. Again, they're not letting any reporters in there while all this is going on. We can listen to them a bit on this speaker, but it's hard to make out any detail unless someone gets up the front there and starts making any announcements. What we've just heard, just a little while ago, is that what they're talking about now is the airport and the seaport, and deciding whether or not it's time to pull the plug in both places. A lot of people are trying to get out of town ahead of this storm, and so you might want to stay tuned if you're thinking of making it to the airport, if you've already bought a ticket, because we believe that any minute they're going to come out and tell us that they're going to close Miami International, and that'll be the end of that particular exodus. Also finding out here that a lot of people who've been calling around looking for hotels, motels further inland and away are finding that they're just about all booked up by now, especially the hotels around Miami International Airport. Again, the number here, 596-8735. If you're still a little confused and not sure if you should evacuate, basically, if you're east of Biscayne Boulevard, anywhere near the coastline, they've already said it's time to evacuate and get the heck out and start aiming for one of the shelters that we are showing you periodically on the screen at Channel 7. You know, this is a far cry from my covered Hurricane Hugo, at one point tied to a tree, and we almost thought that was fun when it was in somebody else's backyard as reporters. But here, you'll find a lot of the reporters in the room here with me. Half of them are calling home, trying to figure out how to take care of their own affairs as well. This is a very scary thing when it happens in your own backyard. I think do you want me to go over these zip codes again for you, Kelly, or have you?
Can you see your screen right now, Derek? If not, we can do it from here. But yeah, we definitely want to go over there.
Okay, again, for Dade County now, the evacuation order affects you, and they're doing it by zip code, so listen carefully now. If you're in zip code 33032, that's east of Tallahassee Road and US 1. If you're in zip code 33033, east of Tallahassee Road. 33034, east of US 1. all of zip code 33035, all of zip code 33039, all of zip code 33109, all of zip code 33128, east of South Bayshore Drive if you're in zip code 33129, zip code 33130 north of Southwest 8th Street, all of 33131, 33132, all you're to evacuate now, and 33133 east of South Bayshore Drive, 33136 south of 836, 33137 east of Biscayne Boulevard, 33138 east of Biscayne Boulevard, all of zip code 33139, 33140, 141, and 143, they haven't mentioned 142, 143 east of Old Cutler, everybody in zip code 33149, everybody in zip code 33154, and then 33156 if you're east of Old Cutler Road. Same if you're in zip code 33157 east of Old Cutler, 33158 east of Old Cutler, 33160 east of Biscayne Boulevard, 33161 east of US 1, 33170 east of US 1, 33180 east of Biscayne Boulevard, 181 east of Biscayne Boulevard, 33189 east of US 1, and everybody in zip code 33190. You are to evacuate immediately and find your way to one of the shelters.
Now, Derek, these are the people who obviously need those shelters. There may be some other people who try to get in. Do you need to bring any sort of proof?
Last time we talked to you, it was still at Category 3. You intimated that it might be heading into a Category 4 soon. Is it there yet?
Right. The pressure had dropped there into Category 4 status. The airplane is still flying through that area, and indeed it may be reaching Category 4 strength. So wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Our next advisor will be out here in about another hour, and we'll have it on that probably.
You know, Michael, when we were talking to him, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the conversation we had with Michael Williams, who's in the Bahamas right now. He mentioned to us that it had just started raining there, and that just a half hour prior to that, he had seen his first dark clouds above him. Is that pretty much what we're going to see here? And if not, can you give us an idea or a sense of what we will first begin to see before we actually get into what we would call the hurricane itself?
Well, indeed, that's exactly the way it's going to occur. You see this, what we call the cirrus shield out here, that's extending over the islands and coming in over, he's at Nassau, I believe, and that's coming over that area right now. Now, out in Eleuthera, they should start getting rain bands there now, and certainly the swells are coming in. These showers will come across, the winds will come up, maybe 40, 50 miles per hour, then it'll lighten off for a while, maybe 10 to 20 minutes between them. Next shower range will come through, rain band, be a little bit stronger, then lighten off. Next one will come through, will be a little bit stronger, and so on.
Time to talk about the tropical storm warnings and the hurricane warnings. Again, as Dr. Bob Sheets has said, this area right now that was a watch is now a warning, and that means within the next 24 hours, this land right here can expect landfall of the hurricane. Very strong indeed, and despite the fact that there are many preparations being made, people gassing up and fueling up as far as the bottled water, I encountered some people today that were pretty complacent, which quite ironic, especially since we are under the influence of a warning, and I think that the attitude stems from the fact that we haven't seen one like this in quite some time, and yes, it could be on its way, so in fact it is on its way. That is the worst case, and I'm just getting something in here right now from Steve Adams at the bottom here, repeating the 2 p.m. Okay, apparently we have new coordinates. They are 25.4 north, 75.8, and let's just take, okay, here it is. So now the new coordinates take this about, well, the sustained winds are still 150 miles an hour, so needless to say, that is probably the best news I've heard. It is still moving west at 16 miles an hour. So again, it's getting closer every hour by 16 miles. Again, the new coordinates, in case you are logging this or tracking it, 25.4 north latitude and 75.8 west longitude. And again, it is getting closer. We're battening down the hatchets right here at the station as well. So again, I'm live from the Channel 7 Weather Center. Steve and I will be keeping you updated on the new coordinates as we get them. For now, back to you guys.
You're right. The best news is those winds have not jumped. And if you think the Bahamas are going to stop this, they're like a little fingernail in the middle of all this. And I've heard people who thought the Bahamas somehow would be a barrier, but certainly not going to be the case. Rick?
All right. There's 4 basic areas where we have crews working this story for you. One is in the Bahamas. There is another in Monroe County, in other words, the Florida Keys, Largo, that area. Then, of course, in Broward County, where we have a crew dispatch, which is talking to us every 5 minutes, and, of course, in Dade County. Let us begin with Dade County and Mark Ludner, who's standing by there now. Mark?
Rick, we're in the Dade County Emergency Control Center with Armando Hernandez of FPL. Tell us, please, a lot of confusion over what people should do with their electricity, if they're going to stay home or if they're going to a shelter. What should people do?
Well, if they're going to stay home, I suggest they keep the power on. Don't turn the switches off. Keep the power on as long as there's power. Hopefully there will be power, but in the event that there is no power, then just secure, they just turn the switches off if the power goes off.
If the power goes off, turn everything off.
Turn the power off, right. And then especially if you have a generator at home, please do turn the power off.
Now, what about the people leaving their homes?
If the people leave their homes, and it's up to them, if they want to keep the refrigerators on, they may do so until the power stays on. Hopefully the power will stay on, but if we have this hurricane of this magnitude, chances are that we may have some loss of power.
Well, what's your best prediction? This is a huge storm as far as power service in the coming days.
Hopefully, our people is all on standby. So we hope that we can return the power as soon as possible. So hopefully there will be a minimum time they'll be without any power in case in the event that the power goes off.
Now let's repeat the warning to people about downed power lines. What should people be watching out for?
Don't touch it. Stay away from those power lines. Don't get any close to them because they may be alive, even though they're on the ground. They may be live. So stay away from them, and hopefully somebody will come and fix them.
Okay, thanks a lot. Armando Hernandez with Florida Power and Light Corporation getting ready, as are many other agencies here for Hurricane Andrew. Again, the word here, Dade County Emergency Control Center, if you are being told to evacuate, do it as soon as possible. Let's go back to you, Rick.
Mark, in the past and from some of the conversations that we've had with some experts in the field of electricity, they say the power could be out in some parts of South Florida for as much as 3 days. That's the information we're getting from them. I don't know if that corroborates at all some of the information you've been getting out there.
Well, of course, I think Mr. Hernandez was pretty optimistic about the power situation. Those of us who've covered hurricanes elsewhere, Hugo in South Carolina comes immediately to mind a couple of years ago, know that power in certain areas can be out for several days. It's generally a hit or miss proposition as to when the power will be turned back on.
And obviously, while the hurricane is still at full force, FP&L is not going to be sending its people out there to restore power. As a matter of fact, if anything, what they're going to be doing is shutting off the powers in areas where the telephone poles have actually come down to the ground. So I guess that's where we are right now. We'll be checking back in with Mark Ludner in a little while, and we'll keep you appraised of what all the official decisions are that are coming out of Dade County. Kelly?
And we'll also be bringing you information out of Broward County. We understand that they are getting a briefing there, and as soon as they are done, we will go to Susan Kelleher. But now we want to go to Marilyn Mitzel. Now, she's been gathering like bits and pieces, kind of the nuts and bolts of all the information that you need to know, and you need to know it quickly. Marilyn, what do you have for us?
This is new information that has just come into us. Very, very important information. At 3:30 this afternoon, there is going to be a press conference. Governor Lawton Childs is going to have address the state. He's going to talk to all of us about the onslaught of Hurricane Andrew. Again, that is 3:30 this afternoon. Governor Lawton Childs will address all of us on TV. We are going to carry his address live. He will also will include a brief question and answer session. So again, 3:30 this afternoon. Stay tuned to your TVs if you haven't left home, which some of you should have by now. Governor Lawton Childs, the State of the Address. Also, Miami Beach police officers, they are being asked to report to their stations immediately. Miami Beach police officers, all of you, asked to report to your stations immediately. We need your help. A warning to condo owners, all condo owners, and particularly in Hollywood. Hollywood is having problems with their condo dwellers. People are expecting that buses are going to come right up to your door to take you out of there. They are not. You have got to go outside, go downstairs, flag down a bus. They will stop and pick you up along the way. Hollywood, the city of Hollywood, asking us to bring this report to you. Condo dwellers, leave immediately, go outside, try and flag down a bus. They're not going to come and get you, folks. We also have a report that Florida Memorial College will be closed Monday and Tuesday. Again, Florida Memorial College closed Monday and Tuesday. That is the latest. I'm Marilyn Mitzel reporting live from the news desk.
And I must say, Marilyn, we took a break for about an hour, and I got outside and did some things that I needed to do at my house, and I noticed that there was more traffic actually going onto Miami Beach than there was coming off of it. So we're not sure if people are taking this very seriously, but they should be, because the crunch will come later tonight. It is sunny now. Everybody thinks, hey, we'll get in the last few rays before this thing hits, because it'll be days before we see the sun, but you really have to move and move quickly. Rick?
We told you just a little while ago how serious the situation is in Dade County. Now we're going to take you to find out how serious things are in Broward County. Susan Kelleher has been manning the fort there for, the better part of the last 6 or 7 hours. And we go back to Susan to find out what the latest is there at the Broward Emergency Operations Center. Susan?
Well, Rick, as if this storm isn't serious enough, a Category 4 or 5, people are not taking this evacuation order seriously enough. And that is a word here from emergency officials who are telling me that they'll be lucky if they see a 50% evacuation rate in the worst areas. That is east of I-95. We've been showing you a map all day long now, all morning, all afternoon, but we really should repeat it. We should show it again because people are just not taking this seriously. A number of people living in mobile home parks east of I-95 are not budging, and these people are at the biggest risk of losing life or property. And let's take a look at the volunteers over here. These people are the ones giving advice. These are the experts. They don't plan on going anywhere for the next 3 days. If this storm is as bad as everyone says it's going to be, we could see 5 feet of standing water in downtown Fort Lauderdale, which is where we are. We're on the 4th floor of the government center. All of the folks you're looking at plan on sleeping here tonight. They brought sleeping bags, pillows. They're simply working on 12-hour shifts, 24 hours round the clock. They plan on staying here themselves. They don't plan on going anywhere. So the word is, if you haven't gotten out and you live east of I-95, do get out now while it's still relatively easy to do so. We understand that some people are driving pretty crazy out there. Some traffic lights have been turned off. We have just some blinking yellow lights out there. People do need to drive carefully, but they need to head west as soon as possible. The bridges have been locked down and in a lockdown position now since 11:30, so don't even think about trying to get your boat out of a marina that's east. It's just not going to be possible because these bridges are locked down and will stay that way.
And I think one of the things that we need to point out, Susan, is that those who wait too long will end up isolated from the rest of us. That is to say, the waters will rise and there will be no way for an emergency vehicle to get to them, even if they did need to somehow get out of there. And that's one of the things that oftentimes people don't think about in situations like this.
Well, that's just it. I mean, even if you are home, what's it going to be worth to you? I mean, you'll probably have no utilities. You'll have no phone lines, no power. There will be blocked roadways. So even if there's no standing water, which there probably will be, you're not going to be able to get out because there are going to be trees in the way. Emergency vehicles have to get in to clear all that away, and that's going to take some time. So you're really much better off west with the few essentials that you need, where you're mobile, where you can take a shower. It'll be much more comfortable for you. So the word is, if you're east of I-95, do get out as soon as possible. Rick, we can't stress that enough. Back to you.
Susan Kelleher staying on top of the situation for us in Broward County. We'll obviously continue to go back to Susan as the situation's warranted. Kelly?
And not only do we have to worry about our houses here in South Florida, we have to worry about our boats. That's a serious concern for a lot of people. A lot of people have dropped a lot of money into boats, and they are worried about what's going on. Now, Olga Villaverde has been in Fort Lauderdale seeing what is going on.
We're here at the Fort Lauderdale Marina, where some boat owners have already gotten prepared. They've covered up their boats. Others, however, are just letting it ride. How dangerous is it to just leave the boat out here today, and if the hurricane strikes, what will happen?
I think you'd probably have a total loss on the boat.
Totally destroyed?
Totally destroyed. There'd be considerable damage on the boat.
And could it also destroy other boats right by it?
Well, if it loses its anchors, then it'd be pushed onto other boats, and eventually up against the seawalls, the boat would be totaled, and whatever it hits on the way would also go along with it.
Mr. and Mrs. McCoy have their 42-foot Grand Banks right here at the marina. Are you going to leave the boat here?
Yes, we have no choice. We wanted to move it to a safer place, but we've been trying since yesterday, and this is the only place we can leave it.
So how are you going to make it safe?
Double lines, fenders out, and hope for the best.
Boaters are also putting their boats on trailers and towing them away to safer places. Where are you going to take your boat?
To New River Marina.
Safer than being here?
Well, yeah, this is a sheet metal building. This will blow away, I'm quite sure.
Why is it safer over there?
Well, you're a lot further inland. It's a concrete building and with sealed doors, and I just think it'll be more secure for the boat.
Now, if you have a boat, there are some basic preparations that you really need to take. For example, take out all movable objects immediately, remove the canvases, recharge the batteries, seal any openings, and lastly, and probably most importantly, secure your boat down with more lines. Reporting from the Fort Lauderdale Marina, I'm Olga Villaverde. Back to you.
All right. Right now, Bob Sheets is going to be standing by, and I understand he's ready to go. Dr. Sheets, are you there?
And I'm here.
Well, things have changed quite a bit since the three of us chatted about 3 hours ago. You said it would intensify, and, sir, you were oh so right. What are we looking at now?
Well, we've got 150-mile-per-hour winds there, the pressure dropped, and so on. And also, the timing is such that we have now put hurricane warnings up for the southwest coast of Florida from Venice Beach southward all the way through the Everglades Park area. So Port Everglades, I mean, not Port Everglades, but Everglades City, Naples, Fort Myers, all of those areas, Charlotte County, and then including Lake Okeechobee, which I believe your station covers part of that area.
Yeah, Bob, we were worried about this happening, and then, of course, we still haven't even hit the Gulf Stream. Is that the thing that could kick this to a level 5?
Well, it's within that 5-mile-per-hour zone there. Could be a Category 5 at any time, maybe now, who knows. Plus or minus 5, 10, 15 miles per hour. At this stage, probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference, certainly not in terms of how you prepare for the hurricane, that we basically have to do the maximum preparation at this stage.
I just took a drive across town, Dr. Sheets. I happen to live in Pembroke Pines, and it was already a lot of rain and a lot of wind in that area, and a lot of people are wanting to know, is that associated with this disturbance?
No, it's not. That's just the afternoon showers and things that we get out here routinely. Actually, that will probably decrease a little bit as some of this activity comes across. You see some of those bands that you saw out there in Pembroke Pines, and that's moving inland. It'll actually get a little better between this hurricane and that normal kind of activity that's taking place there. And then the high clouds rolling in here in the next couple hours or so. The rain bands will come along somewhere around midnight.
I don't know if you've gotten any word from the Bahamas, but can you give us an indication they are already getting into the throes of this, of what we will see first when Andrew finally does hit somewhere in South Florida?
No, I actually haven't gotten any of the surface observations there, but you see the eye of the hurricane now is coming very close to this island right here, and so the eye wall coming very close to that, so they're probably getting pounded at this moment.
What would you estimate the surge is there?
Well, the surge in the Bahamas can get about 6 to 8 feet, if I remember correctly. I put that out yesterday, so I don't remember all of those numbers right now, but somewhere 6 to 8 feet, and of course some of the wave action that you get in that area.
Now, what we're hearing is that sometime this evening, I suppose sometime around 6 or so, we will start feeling the first, at least what we would consider gusts of wind, and then sometime around midnight we might actually see the beginning of the surge. Is that pretty accurate?
Well, yeah, we'll get some little breeze there this afternoon, not all that much. And in fact, as I say, it's going to be better in Pembroke Pines probably over the next 2 to 3 hours as it was an hour or two ago as those little bands came across there. They weren't really associated with the hurricane. Now this is the hurricane coming along, and there's a little clearing there, but by midnight things will start to deteriorate.
Have you done the math on this yet? Traveling at exactly 16 miles an hour, if it continues on that course, when we'll be at the critical stage?
Well, the center of the hurricane will likely pass over somewhere in the Dade, Broward area. That's the highest likelihood, maybe slightly north into Palm Beach, slightly south into Monroe County, but somewhere between, around 8 a.m., maybe 10 a.m., the extreme effects of this hurricane will be felt from probably 4 a.m. to about noon.
So it'll be daylight. Is that good?
In one way it is, another way it's not. One thing that often happens when a hurricane strikes in the daylight hours is that people have to look outside to see what's going on, and sometimes they will take a risk to go out and repair something. So, and then we'll lose 2 or 3 lives as a result of that. So we strongly urge, even in that daylight hours, when those things are taking place, you think you can go out and fix something, don't do it.
Yeah, that curiosity can sure get you. And I know people who don't understand the eye. A lot of people think the storm is over. It's not, and the more intense the storm, the shorter the eye period is, so you've got to Pay attention to that. Don't go outside and just wait until this whole darn thing is over.
As a matter of fact, stay away from your windows as well. Not only don't go outside, but don't be next to a window looking to see what's going on outside, because just when you least expect it, some kind of missile, it could be a mango, it could be a tree limb, it could be a Coke can, could be a pebble. That's all it takes to break that window you happen to be looking through, and that glass will be in your face, as they say.
Hit you in the eye, hit you in the head, and that's when things serious start to happen.
All right, there's a lot of rumors going around town, as usual, in situations like this, and because of this type of rumor, officials try to control the rumors by putting out telephone numbers that you can call in the different areas to make sure that things are under control and you get the answers to your questions that you need to hear that perhaps may calm you down and your family members. Okay, let's start now with the number in Dade County, rumor control, 596-8735. Dade County rumor control hotline, again, is 596-8735. Let's go to Broward. The number in Broward County is 357-8454. Rumor control hotline in Broward County is 357-8454. Monroe, Florida Keys, 1-800-427-8340. That's 1-800-427-8340. And we're going to continue to give you these numbers throughout this newscast for those of you who didn't get a chance to write those down. Now, as Hurricane Andrew continues, we here at Channel 7 are going to continue our coverage and bring you the latest, not only from this area, but also from the Bahamas, where people are just now, as you saw in some of the pictures there, beginning to feel the brunt of this storm. And Channel 7's Michael Williams is there. He's been watching the situation, and yes, that's right, we just now, do we have that report in-house? We do have that. All right. We have a report that's been filed from Michael Williams. He's one of the first people in the Bahamas, and he's got some tape that just came into us. Let's take a look at that now.
I'm Michael Williams. It is morning time here in Nassau, Bahamas, and this may be the last videotape we are able to get out to you on a flight. We are beginning to see cloud cover moving in. There is a slight breeze, all of it just a bare taste of what is headed this way late this afternoon or early this evening. Hurricane Andrew packing 110-mile-an-hour winds right now, and we are told that on its current track it will pass near or over Nassau and New Providence Island. Throughout yesterday and today, we have again and again run into people who say they simply aren't worried about the hurricane, didn't know about it, or are not taking preparations. Here's one small example. This is a hotel on Paradise Island, the equivalent of Miami Beach, a barrier island here. Look at the windows. Not one piece of plywood this morning has gone up here, or from what I can tell, anywhere else. People simply feel that the storm will blow by quickly or not hit them at all. Keep in mind that most Bahamians, like most South Floridians, have not been through a major storm in the memory of many of the people here, and because of that, a lot of them have a comfort, or many would say a complacency level, that could be dangerous. They hope the storm will pass, they realize it could do some damage, but they may not be prepared for the amount of damage it will do. Certainly forecasters at the Bahamian Weather Office are concerned about what they see as a very lackadaisical attitude, and this morning on Radio Bahamas, they started advising that there may need to be some thought of evacuation from places like Paradise Island, but according to what I'm told, it won't be a mandatory evacuation. So at the very best, preparation here is haphazard. I talked to a number of people, including tourists from South Florida, who were pretty much unaware of what was headed this way, and to say the very least are worried and wished they could get out now.
The only thing that really bothered me the most was the fact that its ETA to Eleuthera would be about 5 p.m. Our flight's at 6:30. That puts it real close. And I got a feeling that we'll be probably riding this one out here, although I'd like to be home.
You've got a couple of kids at home.
Yeah, and we have animals. We have a home we'd like to take care of. We really didn't think it would come this way, but here it is.
Are you going to stay?
We're planning to, although we haven't heard much about the storm, so we don't know exactly what's to expect.
Bad storm. Are they figuring it's 110-mile-an-hour winds headed for here and then on to Miami, Fort Lauderdale?
Well, I also heard it's going to be tough getting out from the airports. They're closing down most of the airlines. I don't know, how soon we should try to get out, or if we should even try to just weather it here in the casinos.
It seems like people are just now starting to realize that this isn't going away.
Well, then maybe I should get up to the room and start packing. I guess that's what you have to do.
People haven't been worried about it here, have they?
I didn't know anything about it. We only get 3 channels, and nothing on the news last night said anything about the storm, although we might have gone to bed a little earlier.
And the hotels said really nothing?
hotels didn't say anything. As a matter of fact, we got a call this morning from someone in the States that said, you know, what's going on? We didn't know anything about it. So I guess that maybe we should take off.
You know Hurricane Andrew's headed this way.
I didn't know it was headed this way.
How long have you been here?
Day before yesterday.
And nobody's really put you on alert?
No, not at all.
It's headed straight for here tonight.
Oh, really? What are they saying we should do?
I don't know what the Bahamians are saying you should do. Basically, I guess they're going to tell everybody to batten down the hatches late today, but it could get pretty nasty tonight. And I gather from everything you've said, you just haven't been told by the hotel or anybody else to get ready.
No, nobody's made us aware of anything. Last I heard, it was heading north towards Florida, the coast of Florida. That's all we heard.
Does it trouble you that you haven't heard at least something from the people here?
It bothers me very much.
As conditions permit, we will be trying today to tape some of the preparation, assuming it gets started in any real way here, and send that to you. Bottom line, though, we wait and brace for the arrival of Hurricane Andrew, and everyone here simply hopes that they are ready. Michael Williams, Channel 7 News, reporting from Nassau, Bahamas.
All right, that's Michael on tape. We hope to have Michael on the phone as soon as we can. Obviously, they're having all kinds of problems now with the phone lines because they are getting part of that hurricane in the Bahamas right now. At 2:35, we plan to go to Dr. Sheets. That's about 9 minutes away with the very latest advisory. We may find out then whether this hurricane actually has increased to a Category 5. At 3:30, just so you know, we are going to be carrying an address from the governor of the state of Florida, Lawton Chiles. He's going to address the entire state, certainly this region in particular, and we are going to carry that address from Governor Lawton Chiles live at 3:30.
Yeah, because no matter how well you prepare, there is bound to be some damage. He'll be talking, I'm sure, about disaster relief and those types of things. And basically just to reassure everybody, and that's kind of a nice thing, at least with this much warning, you get an idea of what to expect, and that's at least a plus in my book. Let's go to Jillian Worry, who is following in our Channel 7 Weather Center. We've got, of course, the National Hurricane Center, but we've got our own radar and our own special people looking at about everything. Jillian, what have you seen?
And your own Jillian. Well, right now it is moving again due west at about 16 miles an hour. Let's take a closer look at it on the satellite image. There is the clearly defined eye. This is a very tight and powerful system moving west. The newest coordinates, let's pull them up because, folks, it is a little bit closer to home. At last account, it was 330 miles. Now 280. And keep in mind, it's 280 miles away from the eye of the hurricane. Extending outward from the eye are tropical storm winds that back speeds of 80 miles or 85 miles outside of the eye. So again, we are going to feel the brunt of the system long before the eye moves in. The newest coordinates, latitude 25.4 north, longitude 75.8 west. And again, the winds, this speed system is backing are up to 150 miles an hour. We are still under the influence of a Category 4. Should the winds go up to 150 miles, well, then we are talking Category 5. That means catastrophic conditions. And I know Kelly and I were talking a long time ago. She had been through a hurricane. And basically, what you should prepare for is the fact that once the first wall or eye of wall moves in, that's going to be very, very hard-hitting winds. Then you're going to feel the calm in the center of the hurricane. Now, again, we don't know exactly what area this will move into. We're guessing along the southeast coast somewhere. But you're going to feel very, very calm conditions. Don't be fooled, because the second side of the hurricane, the second wall, is on its way, and the winds will be from the opposite direction because you'll be on the other side of the hurricane now. So, again, Kelly has already been through one. I remember her telling me about it, and it was quite scary. So, again, you want to be up against it. And there sure are folks outside the area right now, especially east of Biscayne Boulevard, that should be evacuated, that are probably watching me right now thinking, should I evacuate? Let me tell you, you should evacuate, simply because we are in a Category 4. The damages surrounding this and aftermath will be extreme. So once again, to recap, moving west, gaining strength, Category 4, as it moves over the Gulf waters, it could generate more strength. Not exactly what we want to see, but the very mild waters of the Gulf sort of act as fuel for a system of this magnitude. That is the last thing that we want to see. For now, I'm Jillian Worry, and I'll take it back to you guys.
Yeah, you're right, Jillian. And I was a tourist at the time. I mean, I did not. It was in Jamaica. Again, it was a similar situation in the Bahamas. They were not telling people anything. The first I heard about it, a guy said, we've got a storm we think is called Albert. They didn't even have the name right. It was Gilbert, and we did not get the choice to evacuate. And part of the thing that you're talking about, when those